Let's see what this looks like. The license plate reads 3CP 462. Right. Now, this is a reference to SCP-462, codenamed the Getaway Car. And the Getaway Car is described as being a rusty El Camino, Chevy El Camino, that instantly teleports people to a destination, but in dangerous ways. And this is not something that teleports people, but it definitely will get you to your destination. And the description for the SCP in the file matches the description or the look of poverty, all that other stuff. They end up falling into this so hard. And in a way, they end up becoming victims, despite the fact that they vote and act against other people and victimize other people and do really fucked up, terrible things. They've just got really swept up by the movements of power that these people have exerted over them, right? Where are they? At least I got somebody this time, even though it didn't land exactly where I fucking aimed. I hit somebody and killed them. Oh my god, 20 player KO streak. Oh, I almost had the health 20 KO kill streak right there, bro.
Did win. Look at the ranking. They won.
No way.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Nobody
Bear
must
Gang
have
took
went
their
there.
place.
Nobody probably showed up. Maybe they fought.
And
maybe they lost.
we're still second. Monsters
We're
Inc.
still gonna
didn't
be second.
beat us, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're gonna have
Kinda
like,
not
Fury.
alone.
Tim,
Second after I'm in third after all.
they could take first right now if they went and took all their places back.
The license plate reads 3CP 462. Alright. Now, this is a reference to SCP-462, codenamed the Getaway Car. And the Getaway Car is described as being a rusty El Camino, Chevy El Camino, that instantly teleports people to a destination, but in dangerous ways. And this is not something that teleports people, but it definitely will get you to your destination. And the description for the SCP in the file matches the description or the look.
Of course it was Lynn that said yes.
I feel bad for Lynn because she just seems dumber than fuck. She's just a part of that.
Oh
No,
man.
Lynn seems like dumb sweet, you know? Like
Yeah,
someone
that's
who's
what I
just
mean.
so sweet
That's
makes
what
them
I
dumb.
mean. I'm just like, bro, hang it up.
Is that me?
No.
No, not at all.
Right, rock.
I don't know how I come off. I don't
No.
know how I come off at all because when I was like not full of PTSD and like saw people in person, they all told me I came off very intimidating and they all thought I was a bitch until they got to know me and then they're like, you're the sweetest fucking person ever.
You seem like the right amount of like nice. Like Lynn
Yeah.
sounds like she'd be walking down the street with absolutely nothing to
I
her
got
name.
that
Give someone a shirt.
It's very was it
that.
naive optimism? Is it destroyed? I'm blowing up. I'm shooting this shit. I'm gonna look at both our highlights. Oh yeah, this is a sick kill. I was fucking all up here. Oh, that was so clean. I landed this whole time. I thought I missed. I thought I was gonna go through that door or some shit. And then I killed the Hulk like right there. And just fucked this ass up. Oh no 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 no! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh! Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, well, wow. That's how you drive a car, guys. Hell yeah! That really did feel like Iron Man right there. Oh wait, no, I don't want to watch that shit. Oh yes, this is the best. Oh yeah, I love this fucking play. He was so mad when that kill, he just hunted me down after that. Once he came back, he went straight for me. Alright. Oop. Switch this. What's going on, everybody? Oh, fuck. Hold on. You guys probably got blasted with some crazy feedback just now, and I'm so sorry about that. I know the ad break just started, so I'm not going to dive too deep into what I'm trying to cover. I know that I may seem a little in a rush, disheveled, or quick, or whatever it is that the description is. It could pretty much fit into this, right? I had a pretty messy morning, and was just kind of rushing to get stuff together. I am going to spend most of this stream talking about one specific thing, and it is something that really tipped me off today, or this last night, I guess you could say. Jon Stewart. I've always followed this guy. I've always listened to this guy. I've always watched this guy for years, right? Not always, but I have definitely liked him for a very long time, right? So I was shocked because I always have seen Jon Stewart as a guy who was reasonable, right? Who understood this country and its people. And I even once or twice suggested that he run for president for this country because I always felt like he had the right mentality. He's also like a comedian. He's kind of like a celebrity. You know, there's a lot of this huge what is it? I guess movement to put people who are popular and celebrities into power. So maybe he might be able to cater to some of that kind of stuff and that kind of crowd or whatever it is, right? So I was insanely shocked and super disappointed when he had this segment on his show, like I think it was yesterday or the day before or whatever, where he discusses whether or not the Democrats or like leftists in general, if using the term fascist is reasonable, right? Should we be doing that? That's the topic for his video or his segment, right? And I couldn't disagree more with him. And hearing his perspective or the way that he highlights this whole scenario makes me lose so much fucking hope for this country, because I'm witnessing live, I guess, yet another person on the left making the exact same fucking mistakes that we've been making since day one, right? I know he's a comedian, and I know that he's joking half the time. In terms of joking, I mean like he's trying to bring humor into a situation. I don't mean that when joking like he doesn't mean what he's saying. He doesn't mean what he's saying, But no, he's just joking and that he's just a fucking comedian. But he's not just a comedian. He's also a political commentator. He's been covering news for decades now. I know he's smart. I know he's very capable of creating jokes about serious things while also bringing attention to those said serious things, right? Without belittling it or whatever. So I know he's definitely capable of being able to include humor and still be the comedian that he wants to be while also conveying truth and getting a message across, right? He's done it many times before. So we're gonna go through this video and I'm gonna highlight what exactly it is that I have an issue with. I believe Jon Stewart is downplaying the seriousness of the Trump administration and the MAGA movement. And I actually do believe that we have not just do we have every right to call Trump and his actions fascist, but that we are underreacting. We're actually underreacting to all this rather than overreacting to all of this.
Show. My name is Jon Stewart. We got a show for you tonight. Our guest tonight, a formerly incarcerated firefighter, Royal Ramey, is going to be here to discuss his journey from prison firefighter to organizer. But first, I just want to very clearly state to you guys something. I found last week.
I need to skip ahead a bit because this first bit is just about the AI deeps and stuff, right? He really starts talking about this shit right here.
The news freaking out about closer to home.
Friday night massacre.
Late Friday night purge. A chilling purge.
The purge.
Ah! Trump has ushered in the purge!
Right. So, he's going to start talking about the not the attorney general, the inspector general's being fired, right? So, he's going to take the inspector general is being fired, and he's gonna make it seem like it's not that important. And of course, I'm gonna explain to you why the fuck it's very important.
I for one will take full advantage by doing some unpermitted lawn work. No, God is powerless. Although, just in case I'm misinterpreting, what is this purge about exactly?
Breaking news, the mass firing of government agency watchdog. Trump fired at least 17 inspectors general.
No! He got rid of 17 inspectors general. That only leaves no one knows how many left. I have no idea.
Skip ahead a bit. Because these jokes are kind of like, I feel like he's trying really hard to fucking make these jokes stick. And of course the audience is just laughing when they're cued to laugh.
You know, here's the nice thing, you don't know if that's the axe or my...
Look at this, it's like a whole fucking 2 minutes trying to kill that joke.
Who knows how many generals will now go uninspected? Democrats, inspire my anger in the least charismatic way possible.
Donald Trump's decision to fire 12 of the federal government's independent watchdogs is a glaring sign that it's a golden age. And Donald Trump's decision to fire 12 of the federal government's independent watchdogs is a glaring sign that it's a golden age for abuse in government and even corruption.
First of all, you know, say what you want. Hold on, say what you want about his humor, right? Right now, I don't think it's funny. I know he's trying to be humorous, but it does feel like he's struggling to get this to be actually funny. Why is he downplaying that? Oh, we'll get into it, and you're gonna be just as fucking annoyed about it or pissed off about it as I am.
Right? Is that a place?
Because he's going to say it, and he'll say it better than I can.
Boomer AI, regardless of how...
Look at how long he talks shit about Schumer just because he fucking had to repeat himself.
What Trump did violated the law. He can't just fire these people. He violated the law. What Trump did violated the law. He can't just fire these people.
Title 5, Section 403 of the U.S. Code, federal law, an inspector general may be removed by the president.
Again, Trump fired these people. He can't just do that like that, right? And he's going to get into how there needs to be a 30-day period in order to do that, right?
Why do I have an axe?
So he doesn't understand why this is important.
It requires notice, 30 days, and a statement of reasons, substantive and detailed rationale.
What? I'm sorry, what? Oh, apparently you can fire them, but you have to give them 30 days notice. Oh, so that's what we're upset about?
Oh.
You can do it, but not in that font.
See, all right, there it is. There it is. That's why he's downplaying it. In his mind, he thinks this is like we can't overreact. We can't react to it as it is because it's technically legal, right? And you're gonna see this repetitive, I guess, sediment. I don't know what you want to really call it. He's gonna repeat this idea throughout the entire video, where he makes it seem like just because Trump is acting within the realms of the legal system or his like justice system or the democratic system, whatever it is he thinks the system is, that it's not only okay for us to, like, we have to accept this, but we can't even just call it what it is. It's fascism, right? Because what is the act of him firing the inspector generals? What do they do? Why does he want to get rid of them? They are there to be checks and balances for his power, right? They are there to make sure that whatever it is that Trump's about to get his ass into throughout his administration, they check to make sure he's following the law in his efforts to do whatever it is those goals are. Why else would he want to fire them? And to make it seem like, to wash away and wave your wand and make it seem like it's all good in the neighborhood just because there's a statute saying that he can't just outright do that without giving a warning is ludicrous. It's naive too to think, because what, you think he's gonna stop there? You really think he's gonna fucking stop right there? He's like, oh shit, well, I guess I gotta do a 30 days notice. I guess I can't fire these guys, blah, blah, blah. Nothing gets in the way of Trump when he really wants something to happen. And it seems like Jon is so fucking disconnected from that basic fact. And that fact that we constantly see Trump go out of his way to try to get rid of some checks and balances, to try to move the power needle, I guess, more in his direction, right? We can't just sit around and pretend like it's all good in the neighborhood and he's not abusing his power, or he's not like trying to change the direction of all these systems into a more fascist system. We can't just ignore all that just because it's illegal now. The Daily Show should do a report on cheeseburger. I bet you they have it. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, they've been around for what, 20 something years at this point, even more. I'm sure he has actually done a report on cheeseburgers at some point.
That's Hitler's font. But this is the cycle we find ourselves in. First law of Trumpodynamics. Every action is met with a very not equal overreaction. Thus,
he's framing this as an overreaction. This is not an overreaction. If anything, it's an underreaction. We should be treating him attempting to get rid of the very things that keep his power in check. We should treat that for what it is, right? We should treat it for what it is. It is fascism. It's not overreacting to call him out for that. And it's fucking stupid to think that just because there was a 30-day notice on him, that he has to put a 30-day notice on him firing these people as if it's going to change anything, as if it makes it any fucking better, right? He's trying to equate private companies firing people with government agencies because he doesn't see the problem. But the reason why he's doing that is because he doesn't see the problem. He thinks that the problem is that we're just firing people without a good notice or some shit like that. And he's also thinking that there is no problem because he's technically allowed to do that. Like, why would he? There's no reason why you would give the president power to be able to fire certain people that he's working with, right? But then to use that same power to fire a bunch of people just to avoid getting held accountable for something is a totally different thing. That would, I would assume that would be considered an abuse of power. I would assume that would be considered that, right? It's not the intention of what that power is meant to be for. He does have the power to do that, but he's using it in a way that it wasn't intended to be used, right? And I have to hammer this down. I'm going to say this over and over and over again. During World War II, all the dictators that rose to power, Hitler, prime example, he was doing everything that he did was within the bounds of the law. It was the power that he was given from the people. It was the power that he was given from the system at the time. Everything he did was technically legal as well. And having this mentality where you try to downplay the seriousness of his actions because it's legal, or like assuming, it makes me feel like he's implying that he believes that the only way something could be fascist as if it's illegal, right? That is that just shows a severe misunderstanding or severe like lack of awareness of what it is he's even speaking out on, right?
Throwing off our ability to know when shit is actually getting real. Like last week's pardons.
These pardons are sick. They are offensive. They are un-American.
This is one of the most egregious, despicable acts in American history. This is textbook authoritarian takeover 101.
I knew I should have taken that class.
Again, he's going to downplay. So he's going to take, again, he's going to downplay. He's going to do the same exact shit. He's going to take the pardoning of the January 6th insurrectionists. He's going to take that and downplay it because it's technically within the power of the president. And he will even take it a step further, which gets me more mad.
Majored in submissive liberal
He has the
pride
audacity to blame us for it, right?
Do what you will, Trumpisky. Was it shitty? Yes. Should you have let some of those terrible people? No. Is it an abuse of pardon power? I don't know.
Yes, you do. That's the problem. He knows it is. That's a fucking bullshit answer. He knows it is an abuse of power. You have this guy who's pardoning people who are willing to go out of their way to overthrow this government. He's pardoning people who tried to coup the government because they were trying to do it for him, right? Of course it's an abuse of fucking power. Of course. He's going to ask a really dumb question too. Why do we even have this guy have it in the first place? And he's going to make it seem like it's kingly power shit, right?
For some reason, we have given presidents the power of a king. And then we say, oh, by the way, look at that power. You're not going to get all like kingly and shit on us, right? To put that in context.
He's equating pardoning powers to the absolute power of a king. That's retarded. Like, come on, John. Come on, John. You know it's a false equivalency. You know that. Just the pardoning power alone is not powers of a king. And I'm pretty sure he asked, why do we even have it in the first place?
We have given presidents the power of a king. And then we say, oh, by the way, look at that power. You're not going to get all like kingly and shit on us, right? To put that in constitutional terms, if I could, don't hate the player. Hate the founding fathers. That's not...
Why do we even have it? Right there. Why do we even have it? I'll tell you why we fucking have it. I'll tell you why we have it. If you look into the fucking history as to why we even had it in the first place, you'd understand, John. You would understand, right? The very first pardoning, the very first time pardoning even happened was during the Whiskey Rebellion of 1795, right? And after after George Washington, after George Washington had quelled the rebellion and marched his militia to get these guys out, they had some 20 members, as it says right here, the mob who were arrested, and to avoid further inflaming public discontent, right, and to show a sign of mercy to make sure the Union wouldn't fall apart at the fucking seams, right, because this is at the beginning, right, he pardoned these people. He pardoned these people, right? There was a good reason for this, and in the 300, you're right, kings don't need a pardon. They don't need a fucking pardon. Exactly, they don't need a pardon. They wouldn't need to pardon because the justice system, all that shit would listen to them in the first place. They don't have to wait until somebody gets convicted of a crime in order to pardon them. They would just prevent that from happening in the first place. That's what a king could do, right? A president can't do that. They have to wait till the person is convicted and found guilty of a crime to even issue the pardon in the first place. So it's insane for him to make that false fucking equivalency, right? It makes no sense whatsoever. And to answer his question as to why we have it, for reasons like this, the Whiskey Rebellion, the very first reason why we have it, as well as to posthumously, right, give respect to the family members of somebody who was unfairly treated at some point in history, right, who had gotten convicted of a crime that they did not actually commit, and to show that the United States not only recognizes that, but they are regretful of it, that they're sorry for it, and that they're going to give this person a level of whatever they can. The least that they could do is do this for them, right? There are specific reasons why we have the pardons in the first place. It does not equal kingly powers. We did not give the president powers of a king, right? So now he's going to go on to blame us for having this in the first place, right? blame us for having this system and the way it's been created in the first place. And what I mean by us, he means all the fucking citizens. And somehow he also blames all the citizens for allowing Trump to happen in the first place, as if we all voted for this.
President Trump deploying executive action to end birthright citizenship.
This unconstitutional, un-American attack.
Shredding our Constitution, which would be a strongman authoritarian.
Birthright citizenship was very specifically tailored to send a message to people that America was a place, an idea. It wasn't for one race. It wasn't for one gender. Citizenship in America was based on where you were, not who you were.
This is crazy to me.
Stroke of a pen, finally I agree. That is authoritarian.
It's crazy to me that he could recognize this as being authoritarian, but he can't recognize how, in conjunction with everything else, it's fascism as well. It's nuts. It's nuts. And what's even more nuts is he doesn't apply the same level of scrutiny to this action, right? He doesn't say, well, technically it's in his power to do so, because technically it is. Technically it is in the power for him to execute an executive order. Like, what the fuck? But you're not applying that level of scrutiny to this. So I don't understand.
We do begin
I have no idea how
President Trump's executive order that would
you could just ignore all this shit. I just don't get it. Oh, and here, look at this. This is even more nuts. This is him downplaying again.
Will judge blocking.
That America was a place, an idea. It wasn't for one race. It wasn't for one gender. Citizenship in America was based on where you were, not who you were. And to just stroke of a pen, finally I agree. That is authoritarian.
We do begin tonight with the federal judge blocking President Trump's executive order that would end birthright citizenship.
And we're back.
He's going to downplay it.
See how easy that was? It was a dictatorship, and then the judge went.
So he's downplaying the severity of this action because it was, in his eyes, resolved because a judge halted it. They delayed it, right? How many other actions has Trump done where a judge delayed it and later on down the line, they just went with it anyway? Some bullshit had happened and they went with it anyway. The judge got fired to replace it with somebody who was more loyal, or they fucking just put enough pieces in the puzzle in order to make shit bend in his direction. Like, this happens all the fucking time. And him firing attorney generals, or not attorney, the inspector generals, shows how far he's willing to go to make sure that this shit doesn't happen anymore. His first administration was full of federal judges blocking shit. It was full of things getting in the way. All those people in the last 4 to 8 years, they've been replaced with much more loyal people, much more loyal Trump supporters, much more people who are willing to either bend the law or outright break it for him, or willing to turn a blind eye to Trump himself breaking the fucking law or doing shit that really messes with our democratic system, as Jon Stewart so neatly puts it, right? I'm at a loss for words with this. I really am sometimes.
It's like when you have an electric fence. You never check it, and you're not really sure if it works.
This analogy made me scream. Bro, he's getting rid of the electric fences. He's getting, what if he cuts all the electric fences down? He took over the people who made the electric fences. He replaced those people with people who were willing to get rid of those electric fences for him. Now he has way more or less of electric fences to worry about. It is, I can't believe how he had said this shit in the same video when less than 5 minutes later, he's making it seem like Trump trying to get rid of checks and balances on his power isn't fucking that bad.
Because you have a good boy. You have a very good boy. But then one day, zap. By the way, I fundamentally disagree with the use of electric fences. It is true. I prefer to discipline my dogs.
It is absolutely naive. How much more disconnected could you possibly be from what is going on in this country? This type of mentality is what is killing us, because we never react to absurd shit the way we ought to. And I know for a fucking fact, if I go back in time in a machine right now and I ask random people, like if I go back to when Obama was in office, I asked random people, how would you feel if the president did any of this shit, any of it, even the least worst thing that Trump has done? If I asked them, how would you feel about this, and would you think that this is like authoritarian dictator fascism shit? 100% they fucking agree. 100%. It wouldn't be a fucking question about it. But now it's actually occurring right in front of us, And we're too busy, too scared to acknowledge it. We rather joke about it, downplay it, act like it's not as bad as it actually fucking seems. We're so complacent to it. We're so fucking complacent to it that we're out here joking about it, making it seem like everyone who is aware of how bad this situation is fucking crazy. This is insane. This is how fascists slowly strip away the democratic system. Exactly. It's exactly how Hitler did it. It's exactly how every other fascist dictator does it. They strip away the democratic system using the very tools that system gives them. It's the only way it works. They don't just show up one day. It's like Jon Stewart and these idiots. I feel like they think that these dictators will show up one day and overnight it would be fucking concentration camps, people getting gassed, fucking executions in the street. It's like they think that that's how it's supposed to work. When are we going to turn around? At what moments do we realize we've crossed the point of no return? At which moments? Which moments? Because we even have literal Nazis actually doing Nazi salutes on fucking television, passionately showing up to Nazi rallies literally a week later, and people are still in denial about what's standing right before us. What's standing right before us? We fucking I'm gonna play a video about this, but we've crossed the fucking Rubicon like 8 to 10 years ago, and the entire way we've been telling ourselves that it's not as bad yet. We could fix this. We could fix this. We can't fix this. We can't fix this. We can't even fix this, and we can't even acknowledge what's in front of us. If we can't even describe in a unitarian way, if we can't even describe what the fuck we're looking at, how the fuck are we supposed to deal with it?
With
it's
a series of
absurd.
aggressive comments about their weight.
The Democrats have been making this
huh?
fucking mistake. Everyone on the left has been making this fucking mistake. Everybody, it feels like everyone in my life has been making this mistake in terms of like people that are not in my immediate family, people who are not some of my friends can, not all of them, but it feels like everybody is downplaying the seriousness about what the fuck is happening around me, and I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel like there's something fundamentally wrong with reality. Like, we're carrying on in our day-to-day lives as if nothing changed. And whenever we have conversations about it, it's a meme. It's a fucking joke. It's a joke. Everyone wants to say their opinion, but they want to make it funny, and they score points that way, and that's all it is. We're never, ever acknowledging the problem, let alone dealing with it, and I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like the entire room I'm sitting in is on fire, and I'm the only one who is recognizing that it's on fire. That's what it feels like sometimes.
My dog's name is Tubbs. Anyway, birthright citizenship is back!
For now.
Damn you, constitutionally enshrined judicial review of executive action and its relief through the appellate process.
Right there is him explaining and showing how he's going to use every tool in his belt to make sure that this happens. And once he exhausts all that, he's going to, just like he has done before, go the extreme route.
We're facing a deluge of these executive actions, and certainly we must be prepared for those.
But we're talking about a guy who is willing
consequences
to try to coup the government.
This is all fascist
Remember
argument
that.
has become almost a reflex for the left.
Donald Trump promised to be a dictator on day one, and he's carried that forward through the entire week.
5 days into this administration, the abuse is already rampant.
Throughout the rest of the week, shredding the Constitution as he went.
On a fascism scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being peak fascism, how would you rate Trump's first week?
Now, I want to remind you with this segment right here, this part, he's calling out leftist news TV for doing what it always fucking does, is doing nothing new. This is what they do, right? They take trends, they take buzzwords, they repeat the same talking points ad nauseum, whether or not they're right, whether or not the points are even good. That's what they do. This feels like he's falling for that trap where he's seeing and thinking that this is how everyone is reacting based solely alone on how CNN and MSNBC reacts, right? That's a trap. I don't think the majority of people are like how these fucking guys on news cycles, TVs are. They're not the same, right? The average citizen's not thinking and acting the same exact fucking way as CNN is all the time. This is what he's doing, but funny. Exactly. He's doing the exact same shit, but funny. That's all he's doing, right? And whether or not these news segments or the CNN is doing this, it does not take away from Trump's actions. It doesn't make it any more or less fascist. It doesn't matter what the fuck they say, right? I appreciate that they're bringing attention to this. Do I believe that they're doing it in the right way or one that's productive? I don't think so. But that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I feel like bringing up and making fun of all this, you know, it's just him being funny and is joking, but it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't back up his point at all. Because Trump's actions remain the same. They don't change. And he's going to segue this into, like, he believes the solution to this is that we have to reason with the right, I guess. But again, if you see something that looks and walks and talks like a duck, and it's a duck, you have to acknowledge its duckness in order to deal with its duck problems. We can't do shit if we don't. We're not going to see a duck and treat it like it's a dog. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. He's clip shipping too. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Dude, I would have never, I'm like, growing up, I have to say, I'm so disappointed in Jon, because growing up, I always thought to myself that if the United States or the society ever had a problem arise similar to what had happened in World War II, like if we ever had a neo-Nazi rising, a fascist rising, an authoritarian rising, if this democracy was ever under threat, I thought that out of all the people who would be talking against it or calling it out would be Jon Stewart. He fucking disappointed me. I cannot believe this shit. Out of all the people I least expected for him to start having this type of mindset, I did not expect it to come from him at all. At all.
On the scale of Mussolini to the Holocaust. You know, I would say it's not fascism. Do I not understand what fascism is? And also, it's...
You don't understand what fascism is. And the fact that he didn't even bother to try to explain to other people what fascism is and how this is not fascism shows that he doesn't know what the fuck fascism is. You would think that he would have taken at least a minute to describe what fascism is and how this is not fascism, instead of just, I guess, lambasting the left for calling Trump's actions fascist because he thinks that we overreacted. Without really explaining, I guess he does kind of explain why he thinks we overreacted, because it's part of the legal system and sometimes people stand in his way.
If I may, and this may be petty, why are we asking someone who at the end of January still has his f***ing Christmas tree up? Why are we asking him anything?
Because you're unable
to
talk about what fascism is.
Somebody in the audience literally jumped my Hitler joke. You know who used to do that, by the way?
He literally is incapable of understanding what it is. Like, I could clearly see he doesn't know what fascism actually stands for.
I have a lot of fear.
I think he thinks that fascism is just literally like the end result of it, right? Not everything in between. He thinks it's just the end result of it: genocide, fucking famine, starvation, fucking troops marching through the street shooting people in the head. Apparently, according to his mentality, we have to wait until we get lung cancer to stop smoking cigarettes. That's the mentality that he has. We can't call this what it is because the worst part of it has not happened yet. Because some of us don't have assistance to take down our holiday. That ass though. It was a totally irrelevant jab. Of course, he even said himself he's being petty, but still, he's not. He sounds even more clownish by just trying to make it seem like he's making a good point, like a gotcha right there.
But part of vigilance
right here, he said,
term goes on. Things are going to get a little fascisty.
Things are going to get a little fascisty. He's aware that it is heading in that direction. How could you admit this, Jon? How could you admit this after you just spent how long? Fucking 13 minutes explaining to us why what Trump is doing is not fascism and we're overreacting. How could you know that he's heading down a fascist path and still act like we're overreacting for calling him out for it? Right? What the fuck are you talking about? And you're gonna say you have the audacity to say we must be vigilant. Meanwhile, you're closing your eyes and you're looking
but part
away.
Of vigilance is discernment.
You can't even
Republicans
discern
control the
what
House,
fascism
the Senate,
is.
the executive, and the judiciary. And just about every move that has been made till this point, we have granted them electorally. It's our fault. And the constant drum, it's just.
This is what I'm saying. He's gonna victim blame now. He's gonna victim blame. He's gonna fucking victim blame, right? He's gonna say that this is what we voted for.
Every move that has been made till this point, we have granted them electorally. Now look, I have a lot of fear. Let's be vigilant, but part of vigilance is discernment. Republicans control the House, the Senate, the executive, and the judiciary. And just about every move that has been made till this point, we have granted them electorally.
I can't believe I have to say this. This feels like pointless to even fucking mention that I have to explain this. If you vote for somebody, and most of us didn't, right? Half of America that voted for Trump, right? We didn't all collectively vote for him, right? So we didn't grant him this electorally. But if we vote for him to do one thing, and he takes that power, it does something completely different from it, it doesn't mean that we voted for that or we chose that. I can't believe I have to even explain this at all. It shouldn't even have to be said. So I don't understand this.
It's our fault.
He should fucking know
and the
this.
Constant drum, it's just our fault. And the constant drumbeat of encroaching fascism will erode the credibility we will need if, hopefully if, and not when, it hits.
Credibility. To who? To who? Who? Like, credibility to the right? To the right? Like, what does that fucking matter? They don't even, they don't believe that we're credible anyway. If you don't support Trump, you have zero credibility to all these people. There's no way that he actually thinks that when push comes to shove, that the most important thing that we have to our, like, ability is the respect and credibility we have to MAGA? What? And again, what the fuck is credibility going to do when this ultimately culminates in the worst case scenario? It's not going to do shit. And again, I feels like they're going back to the same mistakes that the Democrats were making this whole election, the whole fucking campaign, where it's like this idea that we could somehow be reasonable with the right, somehow convince them that we're better for them.
But the truth is that for now, his most objectionable actions have taken place almost entirely within our designed democratic system.
Oh my God. Did you? Hold on. Again, let's hear that again.
That for now, his most objectionable actions have taken place almost entirely.
Almost entirely. All right. I had to write this down. This is what he says verbatim. He says his most objectionable actions have taken place almost entirely within our democratic system. And again, as Soviet mind had pointed out before, Hitler, as I pointed out before, every other dictator that rose to power before and during World War II, all of them had used the democratic system that they were given power, right? They use this power in order to carry out their objectionable actions that eventually led towards Nazi Germany, towards an authoritarian fascist dictatorship, right? All of those things happened under the law, right? And the key word in his statement is almost. Almost. Which means and implies that some of his most objectionable actions took place outside the democratic system and were inherently illegal, right? And if we go back to how Jon's assessment of things on whether or not it's fascist, right? He constantly implied that he would only see it as fascist if it was illegal. So Jon, I must ask you, why don't you see those illegal actions that were objectionable that he's taken and gotten away with as fascists? Why don't you see that? According to his own admission, he doesn't believe that every single action Trump did was totally legal or within the powers that were granted to him and elected for him. I don't know how more I could point out his hypocrisy in this, right? I just don't. I don't like, and this statement to me, it highlights the type of mentality that will actually bring down this fucking country, because it's like we see the train coming, but for some reason, everyone collectively thinks that the only time that we should jump out of the way is after the train has officially made contact with our fucking body and is dragging our corpse across the railroad.
Our designed democratic system, like the confirmation process, despite claims of meritocracy, Trump has put forth some of the least LinkedIn people you could imagine. I don't know what responsible hiring process you can create that looks at this.
I'm gonna get another refill. Hold on. I feel good. You know, I'm just adding a little bit of extra. It's already in there anyway. What do we care? Down goes Duncan Dad on New Year's Eve.
Who's that guy? I want him leading defense.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean. So he's gonna make it seem like this nomination for Hegseth happened as designed because he's using the powers that were given to him, and so that this must mean that there's nothing fascist happening there, which is weird because it's like a false, like, no, he's misconstruing the idea of the system itself versus the way someone wields the power that the system provides them, right? It's not the system itself that's fascist. It's not the powers that were given to him that's fascist. It's the way that he wields said power. So a president picking someone for his cabinet alone, of course, isn't kingly. It's not fascist, right? That's pointless, right? To even make it seem like that. However, if a president picks someone for the position who's not only just not qualified, but is so loyal, in fact, that they'll be willing to break laws, betray their responsibilities to this country, or abuse the position of power, right? For Trump, I would have to say that 100% is fascist. Is Trump going to disclose UFOs? I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt it, dude. Trump said he was going to do a lot of shit that he said only in the moment that he's probably not going to do. If it's not a priority of his, it's probably never going to fucking happen. Honestly, I don't really give a fuck at this point. There's much more important shit to worry about, unless they're literally like about to descend within the next 30 minutes and glass this entire fucking planet. There's got to be more shit to worry about.
And how did this individual, who has never so much as successfully managed a Waffle House pop-up, gonna run the 3 million people Department of Defense? But he wasn't foisted upon us by a dictator. There was no authoritarian.
This is what I mean.
No royal edicts. This shit happened to us as designed.
He's not understanding the criticism. Again, he's not understanding the criticism. He's making it seem like the Democrats or anyone on the left is calling his actions fascist because of the way he's using the power granted to him. No, not because of the way he's using the power granted, because he's using the power granted to him, period. Right? But it's more of the way that he's using that power granted to him. That's the issue. That's the issue. Hegseth in no way is qualified for the position that he's being nominated for. The only reason why Hegseth and any of these other fucking clowns in Trump's cabinet is being picked for the positions that they're being picked for is because they are sycophantic. They are loyalists. They will obey his orders to the fucking end, right? They don't have a line that could be crossed, and he knows this. And when it comes time for push comes to shove, once he has everybody in the right place that he needs them to be, when he wants to break the law, when he wants to change something constitutional or fundamental to this society and this country, he's going to have as little pushback as possible. That's fascist actions. That's fascist behavior. That's wherein lies the criticism that Jon is failing to see.
Advise, but mostly consent. Passed through the Armed Services Committee, put through a Senate vote. 3 Republicans, of course, made a show of it is the most outrageous. Because they knew they could lose 3. It was a f***ing performance, and J.D. Vance broke the tie democratically. Trump's using the almost absolute power we have constitutionally granted him and the Republicans, because this is Trump's theory in governance. He's already laid it out to not President Bush.
Again, he's highlighting, he doesn't understand why the fascist criticism is there. He keeps highlighting this is the power that was granted to him. It's not about that. Again, it's not about that. It really isn't.
2005.
And I know he knows this. It's literally called abuse of power. That's literally what the word is. Yes, you're right. That's literally what it is. I don't know how else you could describe this. It's exactly what it is, right? Abuse of power. If, for example, the pardoning system's intention is to make sure that people who were falsely accused of crimes or whatever gets granted amnesty for whatever it is, or if there's specific situations and events that would benefit this country, if someone was pardoned, that could happen. But the reasoning for it, if someone becomes president and they take that power and they just tell everybody that they really like who's obeying to them, go out and kill as many fucking leftists as you can. Don't worry. I'm going to pardon you. You will not be touched. That's abuse of power. That's abuse of power. If he's going out here telling all these people, coup the government for me, fucking bum rush Capitol Hill, try to kill Mike Pence and all these other fucking people, right? If you do it for me, don't worry about the consequences of these actions. If you fail, I'm going to become president again. I'm going to make you guys pardoned and forgiven and all this kind of shit. That was not the intention of the power that was granted to the president, right? That was not the initial intention. If someone takes the power that they've been granted and pushes it to the fucking extreme in a sense that wasn't, that people didn't vote for, that's fascism. That's fascism.
They like to do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy.
That's his governing philosophy. For all of it. Appointing people, firing people, writing executive orders, taking Greenland, making Wikipedia-like edits to the literal globe. But unfortunately, as of now, he's pretty much just democratically grabbing our pussy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Said, yeah.
You know why he's democratically grabbing our pussy? Because people like you, John, have this fucking mentality that all these sirens and alarms that are being sounded and rang are bullshit. It's overreaction.
He has the consent of the people. For God's sakes, his deportation orders are so popular, they have collabs.
TV personality Dr. Phil tagged along on a Chicago raid.
You've never been deported before?
Dr. Phil. Yeah, Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, on TV.
This highlights his misunderstanding, or not his misunderstanding. I want to say this is a disconnection from how entrenched right-wing MAGA propaganda and social media is in the minds of its supporters, right? I started to question when I saw this. Does he really understand that those people that voted for this, they're literally part of a fucking cult? That, of course, it's going to be on this level where you see dumb shit like Dr. Phil tagging along on ice raids, right? Like, of course. What like?
No, I seen Dr. Phil,
Dr. Phil tagged along on a Chicago.
Democratically grabbing our pussy. Yeah. We said yeah. He has the consent of the people. For God's sakes, his deportation orders are so popular.
You're so funny, John. You're so funny.
TV personality Dr. Phil tagged
You're
along.
gonna be making jokes for us when we're marching to the deportation flights. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna be making jokes for us when we're all like fucking being tagged and identified, right? And being tracked through the camps that we now live in.
On a Chicago raid.
You've never been deported before?
Dr. Phil. Yeah, Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, on TV.
Like, this is cult shit.
How do you know me?
How does he not recognize that?
You've been in one thing. How do you know I'm Dr. Phil? Because you're on the Dr. Phil show. You're Dr. Phil. How do you know me? Oh, weren't you in Goodfellas? No, you're Dr. Phil. I know that little egghead anywhere. Show.
Yeah?
Have collabs. Yeah.
They're so popular that they have collabs. I just had to hear that again. Why do you think they're so popular, John? Why do you think they're so popular?
I guess Dr. Phil finally cashed someone outside.
These jokes last so long, too. Oh my God.
Look, the Trump administration was clearly ready for this. It was almost as though they had some project for what they might do in 2025.
Yeah, they
were. So
were.
emboldened, they're not even stopping on American shores.
John, how do you see the Project 2025 and not think that at all, or anything that was entitled in that, fascist, dude? Like, they laid it out for us. I could point out so many fucking things in that shit that's What else do you want? What else more do you want? They're telling us they're gonna get rid of free speech. They're gonna fucking start having camps and rounding people up by the millions. They're fucking telling us that we can't learn certain things in school, and that they're gonna fucking make sure that they don't have like woke media virus stuff happening in school. They're gonna fucking force kids to do certain shit. Like, what more do you want? I just don't know. Like, there's a whole fucking Wikipedia page on all the things that Trump has done that could be labeled as fascist. We have everything from fucking political violence to coups to fucking dehumanization of entire groups of people to literal fucking camps during his administration to connections to other fascists who self-identified, bro. Like, what more do we need? I don't know what more we need.
The president said he thought more than 1 million Palestinians in Gaza could be moved to nearby Arab countries.
What the f? He's so emboldened, he wants to start deporting people from other people's countries.
John would just move to another country or hide behind his Republican wife. Exactly. He's not going to be affected by any of this shit. That's the thing. That's the thing. It makes me mad because I know he would have understood. I feel like he understood back then. He was very, very different. He understood what was going on in the people's minds and what was happening in culture and society and all that kind of shit. I never remembered him thinking this way.
Contain this guy. The question is probably not how dare he, though. The
Oh,
question
this is important. Oh, fuck. Let me go back.
Unemployment insurance.
Accidentally clicked on a random video. He's about to get to, he's going to sum up his point for the entire
What's
video.
your contract? Look, I really hope the Democrats figure out a way to contain this guy. The question is probably not how dare he, though. The question should be, what are you learning from this? How would you use this power? What's your contract with America? Democrats, exist outside of him. Tell people what you would do with the power that Trump is wielding, and then convince us to give that power to you as soon as possible.
This is it. This is the culmination of his points, right? So he's saying that Democrats shouldn't just say, how dare we, or dare he. That Democrats should ask, what are we learning from this? How will we use this power? And what is our contract with America, right? He wants us to tell the Democrats to tell people what we would do with the power Trump is wielding, and that the Democrats need to convince the citizens to give that power to them. Right? The fact that he asked these questions alone just shows me that Jon Stewart is wildly disconnected from all the issues at hand here. He does not seem to understand the level and grip the MAGA propaganda, conspiracy spinning, the grifting, the spread of misinformation has on so many American citizens, millions of American citizens, in fact. To act like the Democrats didn't just waste their entire campaign to put Biden or Harris into office, and that wasn't them the entire time trying to convince MAGA and people on the right that they wanted to use this power for them and not for themselves. Like, John doesn't remember any of that? Like, I feel like John didn't even ask himself what the lesson is to learn here. The lesson here is that there's no reasoning with the right. There's no reasoning with them. These people are brainwashed. There's no level of politicking. There's no level of outreach. There's no level of campaigning that will ever change their positions. And if there's any introspection that needs to be done for the Democrats, it's that they should have bolstered their support with people who are more likely to support them and who aren't completely dedicated to Trump, rather than those who have completely bought into it and show no respect or care for anyone that's on the left, right? And, you know, knowing this, it does not diminish the fact that what Trump is currently doing, right, with his power is fascist in nature and is him seizing as much control as he can, so his actions can become more increasingly fascist as time moves on, right? We should 100% call these things out, and at the very least, start with saying, how dare he? We definitely should ask that and say that, how dare he? Because we need to point out what the fuck he did wrong first and how he did wrong, and then proceed to explain why it is wrong and what he's doing can mean for the future, right? Instead of pretending like it's all a fucking joke, right? Instead of pretending like it's all a joke and that everyone is just simply overreacting for pointing it out alone, right? And again, I have to remind you guys, I know Jon is a comedian, right? I know he's a comedian, but he always has been also a political commentator. He's been like doing this shit for decades now, right? So I know he's 100% capable of bringing attention to serious topics without downplaying them and presenting them as a matter of fact, while still being able to joke about it, said content, making it more fun and digestible for most people. I know he's capable of doing that, right? So I know calling him out for downplaying the seriousness of these things and accusing us for bad shit that's not happening is, to me, isn't overreacting, right? It's just, I know he's just a comedian cracking jokes, right? But I know I'm not overreacting for calling him out for downplaying the seriousness of all that stuff. I know I'm not. Doesn't make any sense because we're falling. He's just allowing the same problem to carry on, to fucking carry on. It also makes them look like shit since a lot of these people were telling us to vote for Kamala and Biden when they didn't win immediately. Shit on them. Yeah, it does. Fuck. I don't understand. It frustrates me so much, man. I really wish it wasn't so hard to convince, let alone one person, that we are now in a space as a country where everything's on the fucking line. Everything is on the line. Every morning we wake up from here on out could mean life-changing circumstances for somebody, right? Whether it be on an individual level or as a nationwide level. Every day. And all because of Trump's actions. The democratic system did not work as intended. It worked as it was, I guess, now designed by, or redesigned by Trump and the MAGA right. It's working in favor for them. And the more that we allow this shit to carry on, and the more that we cower in fear for just alone calling them out for what they're doing, like this is not even, we haven't even, again, taken the step to fix anything. Like we're not even in the area of discussing how do we fix this problem. We're still stuck in the area of discussing what the fucking problem is in the first place, right? We're not going to be able to move from here if this is what we get bogged up in. And honestly, Jon, I know you may never see this, but I am insanely disappointed in you, and I hope that you rescind this or some shit. Make a comment about it at least, because convincing other people to carry on with this mentality is just allowing this entire country to be as complacent as possible to actual fucking evil. Actual fucking evil. Get your shit together, Jon. Go read a book about fascism, right? Be more aware about what people are criticizing before you shit on them for criticizing it in the first place. Because it seems like you're incapable of even bringing yourself to describe what the fuck fascism even is. And I could do that for you. I could definitely do that for you. When you got a leader who's centralizing power onto himself, when you have a leader who positions himself above the law and immune to all laws, right? When you have a leader who's systematically removing all these people in government that would stand against him for very loyal, sycophantic motherfuckers. When you have a leader who's not just threatening, but mobilizing the military to be used against its own citizens for reasons of rounding up and deporting millions of people, right? When you have all of these things happening and the right of the citizen just slowly but surely eroding, this is all fascist stuff. All of it's fascist stuff. Jon, you mentioned like 3 different fascist things in this video that Trump did. And the Inspector General alone should have been important to you. And again, and if any of these actions end up being stopped or delayed, it does not mean that what Trump is doing is any less better or worse. It just means that someone along the line decided that what he's doing is wrong and I've got to stop that shit, or try to at least. So my mind's eye, I could feel more comfortable and accepting with myself and know that when the time came, I did the right thing. I did the right thing. Instead of telling everybody to do fuck all and do shack shit. Because what kind of question is it to even ask for the Democrats to ask them what lesson they fucking learned here when you can't even learn, when you don't even understand what's happening in front of you? I'm repeating myself. I'm so fucking annoyed with Jon. I want to slap him across the face. I'm sorry. I don't. It just pissed me off so much, man. Jon, I looked up to you. I used to think your show was funny as fuck back when I was a kid. I used to watch you in high school. Leading up to that, you and John Oliver were probably like the first introduction I had to like watching news and digesting politics in the first place, right? God, to see you in the most important time in this country, to see you just fucking not doing anything about it? Fucking hell. What the fuck? God. What the hell? All of my heroes are dead. And all my enemies are in charge of everything. That's what it feels like. I will be playing one more video from this guy who I feel like this is a direct response to, my friend showed me this. I feel like this is a direct response to this too. But he better, in a much more graceful way, kind of explains how I'm feeling. Or what's going on here, I guess.
The Rubicon is a river in Italy. The story goes that at the end of the governorship of Julius Caesar, he was ordered to disband his army and stay north of the Rubicon. When instead Caesar marched his army across the river and towards Rome, it was considered an act of treason and the beginning of the Roman Civil War, at the end of which Caesar would reign victorious. It is said, as he forded the Rubicon, Caesar declared, "The die is cast." In today's vernacular, we refer to a metaphoric Rubicon as the point of no return. Children cross the Rubicon into adulthood. Isolationist governments cross the Rubicon into international politics. Each of us will cast the die several times in our own lives. But we say also that movements, that people, cross the Rubicon when they become irredeemable. When times are bad, we wonder anxiously how far from the Rubicon we are. When does an insurgency become a war? A demonstration, a riot? When is the moment an economy in danger becomes one in collapse? We scan the horizon for the riverbank, hoping we didn't cross it some ways back. The thing about points of no return, the reason we worry over them so much, is it's rare to know where they are until they are some ways behind you.
Yep.
The Rubicon is not the Mississippi. It is a muddy little creek history lost track of for centuries. In the United States, we are increasingly comfortable saying that our democracy is under threat, that we are at risk of descending into authoritarianism. Few are ready to say that the threat has arrived. And I'm referring to myself when I say that. I'm not ready to say it's arrived. No one wants to call it prematurely.
Nobody wants to acknowledge it. It's a scary thing. Acknowledging this kind of stuff, it takes a level of courage, right? Because it forces you in the position to have to rethink your status quo and your safety, significance, and what have you. Have we went too far? And is this the time for action?
The left, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, some thinly veiled caricature of the Jews, are ready to kick down your door and bash your teeth in. And I talk about why they say this. Their need to exaggerate the threat from the left so that when they aggress against us, it seems like self-defense, so that we are to blame for any violence we suffer. I talk about the danger of this thing.
Which is why, again, Jon just did that. He blamed us for
being
it.
Accepted. I say the way mainstream conservative politicians and media legitimize these arguments is worrying. But I don't say, they are saying this in preparation to kick down your door and bash in your teeth. I want people to listen to me. I don't want to sound irrational. I don't want to sound like them. And I don't want it to be true yet.
But
for the sake of argument,
when you say these things, right, it kind of sounds like you're delusional, right? You don't want to sound like they're about to do the most extreme shit because it throws you off, right? However, what do? when the person that you're describing or whatever is extreme? Like, what do you do from there?
You are, at this moment, standing ankle deep in the water, desperately wondering how many paces you are from the south bank of the Rubicon. There was a time when any number of things would have been the moment. If you could go back to 2015 and ask, is a candidate promising to jail his political opponents, or a president building concentration camps at the border, or a lame duck provoking an insurrection to overturn a vote, the moment where you would unequivocally call him a fascist? And we would have said, no question.
This is what I was saying
but those
before.
moments came, and they went. And we called them troubling. We called them dangerous. But it still seemed alarmist to call them fascist. Journalists and policy wonks still reacted with surprise if you came anywhere near the word.
How can you say that?
You could still run a campaign on reasoning with the right. Republicans have made great strides by being so blatantly horrible that accurately describing their behavior sounds like hyperbole.
Yes.
It seems we
It
are always...
sounds alarmist. I can't describe... It's the frustrating part. I feel like I can't talk sometimes to my coworkers about politics because if I tell them what's going on and just for what it is, it sounds like I'm being alarmist. It sounds like I'm being fucking crazy. Like I sound like I'm saying that the aliens are coming and we have to put our tinfoil hats on. But it's fucking happening. Like if I tell somebody we got almost the world's first trillionaires on stage doing fucking Nazi salutes, and he's trying to put chips in all of our fucking brains and convince everybody that that Trump is the best guy in the world. That doesn't sound.
He's approaching.
It doesn't sound real.
The other side
It sounds
of the
like I'm
Rubicon.
being crazy. It sounds like I'm
never arriving.
overreacting.
We can turn back. The North is still the nearer bank. And there is a knack to this. Everyone expects it to happen all at once. That one day we will wake up to swastikas and kids in cages and unmarked vans disappearing people off the streets. But those all happened on different days. And the swastikas were a natural extension of the barely coded language of the administration's supporters. The cages were the next step after their family separation policy. And the vans were not a surprise after years of police militarization.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to cross the river quickly.
It
Just
almost never
steadily.
is quickly.
So that every
It
step
almost
makes the
never
last one
is
seem
quickly.
inevitable.
It always is insidious. It snakes its way into society. It's never
and the
instant.
next one obvious. The people who say this will never happen on our watch, they'll just divert the river south to keep it true. It's losing a little ground on a dozen fronts every day.
That's important as fuck. It's important as fuck. And it's a great tactic because it's too much shit happening at once for any one person or group of people to deal with, right? If you whittle it down all over the place, you make much more leeway and ground than you would if you focus all your energy on just a single front, a single thing at once.
It's seeing so many lines crossed, you can't even remember where you used to draw them. It's the readiness to give up on things being better and just wanting them to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you if that moment has come. I don't know how to call it any better than you. So instead,
I'm pretty sure it's
I'm going to
here.
ask you to do something.
I'm pretty sure it's here because everyone, like we just watched, Jon Stewart out here trying to convince us that we should probably be quiet about this shit, that we shouldn't fucking call it out for what it is.
To decide.
We need to worry about the credibility of those people that we stand against, more so than the actions in which they're taking against not only us, but society in general.
What the
this
Rubicon
country.
is for you. What is that undeniable instant where if something drastic does not happen immediately, your rights and freedoms are forfeit? And don't show up in my comments saying it already happened years or centuries ago. You're not wrong, but cynicism is acceptance. I'm asking, when would be the time to act?
Exactly.
Write it down.
When do we act? When the fuck do we act? I need to know. I need to know. We're gonna collectively sit around and do fucking nothing. We're gonna carry on like the days have not changed. Like all is well. We're gonna do fucking nothing until all of us are struggling to even survive.
On your phone,
like
or
I
dry erase
don't
board,
get
or
this
a
shit,
post-it on the
dude.
bathroom mirror. So when that moment comes, you will remember that this was your Rubicon.
Yes.
Because it won't feel like it anymore.
Yes, I bet you if you follow this and do that, once that time comes, you ain't gonna do shit. I got my 2025 bingo card, right? I'm pretty sure at least 3 or 4 of those spaces have already been X'd off. right? On there, I'm sure one of those squares is my fucking Rubicon. I don't know what I'm gonna do when that shit gets crossed and everyone around me still doing this.
It will feel like the next logical step.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to
And
seek psychiatric help because I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yourself.
I'm gonna fucking
And
go
that
crazy.
moment comes. What is the right thing to do? You don't have to have an answer yet, but think on it. Because we haven't been doing it.
It's just more content for Hassan and John
As a
when the
leftist,
Nazis
the
come.
futures I envision
Yeah.
are full of possibility.
It's just another dime and another dollar, right? Oh, cool. The Nazis are pulling people out their houses. That was kind of funny because one of them had a weird wig on.
I'm fond of saying there are 100 ways forward and only one way back. So many things we could try if we allow ourselves to let go of white supremacy, of capitalism, of patriarchy. Imagining the future is a kind of world building. To be on the left, at least the way I try to do it, is to desire a spreading out, a pluralizing, an abandonment of hierarchy, and a sharing of power
100
between
ways
us all.
forward.
I don't know if that future is likely, but I know it's possible. That's not how things look on the right. For the right, left to its own devices, all roads lead to Rome.
There's only one solution, and it all goes right back to the same place. The only place you can get your solution at is the same motherfucker, in the same system, in the same shit. There's Trump. It's fucking Trump. It's Trump. He's gonna save us all. He's gonna fix it all. He's gonna prevent us from all dying. That's their solution. That's their solution. I spent quite a bit of my day this morning trying to just kind of gather as much as I can for this. I don't know what it was that really drove me to really like want to spend an hour talking about this stuff, but I guess it's more of like a realization I had yesterday while I was at work, where I'm just like, I feel like I said before, I feel like I'm in a room that's on fire and everyone around me thinks it's the funniest shit in the world. I just, it feels bizarre. It feels bizarre. And it's not just happening on like an individual level or it's just like random people in the street. It seems to be the sentiment amongst a lot of people, celebrities included, politicians, a lot of people on the right, I mean on the left. It's very unlikely that I see a real solution happening anytime soon, unfortunately, and it's very frustrating. With that being said, I wish I had more stuff to cover today, but I gotta go. I have work later. I appreciate all of y'all stopping by, especially, you know, the regulars that are here, you know. I will be, I've said before, I will be having stickers, right? I'm gonna be not selling stickers, but I'll be giving them out. Actually, I have one right here. Got this bad boy, right? And I'm gonna have different colors as well as maybe a different type of texture. These are vinyl stickers, so they should be able to stick on things and they won't fade, they won't get wet, or dissolve in wetness or whatever, right? I'll be giving them out to subs soon, as well as a necklace and a couple other things, right? A little care package for people, and regulars. So when I get those printed out, I'll let you guys know. I'll post it in Discord. But thank you, I appreciate you, Soviet. I thank everybody else for coming. I wish y'all luck, and I hope things improve. I really do. But until next time, peace.